Hello, my name is Dr. Corey Wren. I'm a vegan sociologist, a vegan feminist, and a vegan witch. And this is Bo. If you're watching this video, perhaps you have lost a companion animal, or you have a companion animal and you know one day they will probably be passing before you. Or perhaps you're trying to support a family member or friend who's going through a companion animal loss. So this video is intended to be very practical and give you 4 things to do to prepare for the inevitability of death. Oh, it's so terrible. But also to give you 4 practical things that you can do if you are already dealing with the death of a dog, cat, or other beloved non-human animal. So stick around and be sure to share this video with your friends and family. When I started this channel in summer of 2025, I had a altogether different dog than Bo. I had a beautiful little white dog from Bulgaria named Mishka. Mishka had a lot of disabilities. Mishka very suddenly died in February of 2026. It was quite unexpected. There's a lot of guilt and grief associated with it, and frankly it was one of the most difficult things I ever had to go through as someone who lives with dogs and cats. And I've lived with lots of dogs and cats who have died. Like the portrait behind me, these were all beautiful friends I've had over the years who have lived and died with me. But there's something about Mishka's death that was especially just gut-wrenching. And it was at that time I thought it was really important to pull on my witchcraft, which I've done in the past with other pet deaths, but pull on my witchcraft to help me ground, make sense, and really to survive. So there's 2 steps to, there's two sections to this video, right buddy? He's just had his dinner, so he's being a bit fussy. So the first section of this video is about being prepared, because we don't like to think about our dogs and cats dying, but they will, they must. But you don't want to be caught out when grief strikes and you're feeling at your lowest and you don't have anything in place to support yourself. So the first part of this video is about some things that you can do in order to get a grief kit prepared and just ready to grab, so that you don't, when you don't have any energy and you just really are feeling very low, or if you have a friend who's going through something, you can grab it and support them easily. So those 4 things I'm suggesting is to make a grief tincture, a healing herbal spray, herbal tea, and also a supportive flower herbal bath or foot soak. I'm going to very briefly explain what these things are, but if you'd like to know about them more in detail, I'm currently running a special series on animal loss on my Patreon account. It's currently free to access those videos, but that's where I'm going to go into detail about how to make these things. But for right now, I'll just give you an idea of what goes into them. So perhaps the first thing you might want to make is a grief tincture. And a tincture simply means you take healing herbs, you cover them in something like alcohol. I tend to use vodka, really high proof alcohol like vodka, and you let them steep for about 6 weeks, and you strain out the herbs, and then you can keep the tincture and take a few dropfuls when you need it. So some of the ingredients you might put in there are calming ingredients like valerian or St. John's wort or even chamomile. The next thing you might want to make is a healing spray, a healing herbal spray. So to make an herbal spray, typically I take about half distilled water, half witch hazel, which is a natural preservative, and then you can drop in some essential oils of your choosing. So chamomile is a good choice, lavender is a good choice. If you have St. John's wort, again, that's a good choice. I really like to use yarrow as well. Yarrow, incidentally, is a good cure-all and great for tinctures. You might also put yarrow in some healing tea. So it's very important to have these things made in advance, especially like tinctures. That takes weeks in order for them to prepare. But even with something as simple as tea, if you wait until you absolutely need it, oftentimes you just don't have the wherewithal to do it. So having it on hand, so you just grab the jar. So things that you can put in the tea, as I said, yarrow, certainly put in some chamomile, perhaps even some valerian, perhaps even some hops. Lots and lots of potential ingredients. And I explore all of these in my Patreon account. Another lovely soothing thing that you can do, so notice that a lot of these things are not just nice and herbal, but they have a sort of a physical element to them, like the healing spray. That's something you can sense in the air. It has a cooling effect. If you're drinking an herbal tea, that has a warming effect. If you do a foot bath or a full-on body bath, that also can be very immersive and calming to your nervous system. So putting in your foot bath or in your full body bath, things like baking soda, a sprinkle of citric acid so that you get some fizz, and also helps to soften the skin. Putting in rose petals, putting in lavender oil, putting in all the things that are good for your skin, but also help to calm you. Chamomile is another go-to for that as well. So these are 4 things you can have in your grief preparation kit, not just for yourself, but for your friends and family. But let's say that the death has occurred and you're just trying to get by now, and you've got your kit, or maybe you don't have your kit. But what are some hands-on things that you can do in order to practice self-care and get through this really, really tough time? This is one of the things I like Witchcraft, because it gives you something to do, something physical to do, somewhere to direct your energy. So the 4 things I would recommend to do if you're going through pet loss. So making a grief altar is a dedicated space where you can put things that remind you of your beloved past pet, such as photographs. You can put flowers, toys. I did that quite a lot. I put Mishka's favorite toys out on the altar. If you have their ashes, I have Mishka's ashes on my altar right now, if you want to take a look. Of course, you can have a candle. I splurged on a really large pillar candle in the color of celestial blue to kind of honor her spirit passing. Another thing that you can do is to make a magical poppet. Poppets are really old folk magic, and essentially you make the poppet in the shape of the person that you want to give healing to. So I've made a poppet for little Mishka, and I put special things inside the poppet, did magic with that poppet. Currently the poppet is inside of her urn alongside her, but before I put it there, I did do some spell work with it. So this is more detail on how to do a poppet on my Patreon account. The last 2 things I would suggest that you could physically do is to work with the moon. And so the next full moon that comes along after the passing of your pet, you might start making a ritual of remembrance for them. Full moons are known for representing the culmination of things. So the culmination of that life that you shared together might be celebrated. You might renew the altar. You might put out some flowers, a new candle for to remember your pet. You might put out a dumb supper, put out some treats or food that they would have liked. But the point is just to make a little remembrance of them, no matter how big or small it is. At the beginning, it might be very big. But as the months go by, perhaps it gets a little bit more practical and easy to maintain. But as a sociologist, I can say to you, it's that ritual that is so very important. Having something physically to do, somewhere to focus your attention, and doing that regularly. So on the flip side of that, once you feel like you're in a place that you're ready to let go a little bit, you can work with a dark moon and do a ritual for release. So the dark moon represents the culmination, the finality of the moon's lunar cycle before it begins again. And so symbolically in witchcraft, we use that as a time to release. The new moon, when it's just a little sliver on the beginning of the new cycle, you can think about what you want to start working on and bringing into your life again. So these are some simple things that you can do. Very simple moon rituals, lighting a candle or having a little meditation, or even if it's just a moment of remembrance and marking where the moon is. This regularity, this grounding within nature's cycles can be very, very healing and supportive for us in the darkest of times. So again, if you're interested in learning more about how to use vegan witchcraft to support us when we're going through companion animal loss, please do join my Patreon account. The Pet Loss, the Griefcraft series right now is running free. And also, it's not just for people who've lost pets. If you are a vegan who's experiencing compassion fatigue, burnout, and just the daily difficulties of being vegan in a non-vegan world, we're always constantly grieving. So you may find some of these rituals will be helpful for supporting you as a long-term vegan. And in the Patreon videos, I also speak to that as well. It's not completely just for people who've lost pets. It's also for people who are just dealing with daily grief of being vegan. So thank you for watching this. I hope that it was helpful. If you have other suggestions to support folks on their grief journey, please put them in the comments below. By no means are these the only strategies I've offered in order to support people going through grief and strife. We have a lot more going on in the Patreon channel, such as incorporating urn rituals. If you've cremated your pet's ashes, how can you work with the urn? Going on pilgrimage, doing water fasting, all kinds of stuff that is maybe a bit too much for the YouTube channel. But I definitely welcome you to come and join us and have these conversations with us, and hopefully these videos can be there and support you in the ways that I kind of wish I had videos to support me when I was going through this. Because if you are vegan and you're dealing with the daily grief of being vegan, if you're vegan or not vegan and dealing with pet loss, you know what it's like to live in a world where animal death is just simply mundane and banal, and how that actually adds to a lot of the heartbreak of it. So I think it's important for us to have each other's backs at this time. So thank you very much. Please comment below if you can, like the video and share, subscribe for sure, because these are the things that YouTube's algorithm relies on in order to recognize the value of the video and to promote it further. So I hope you're hanging in there, and blessed be, folks. Keep it witchy.